In the depths of the wilderness, far removed from society's grasp, a man named Theodore Kaczynski quietly plotted his campaign of terror. Unbeknownst to the world, he would become one of the most infamous domestic terrorists in American history. This is the chilling story of the Unabomber, the reclusive genius. In a secluded cabin nestled amidst the rugged landscapes of Montana, Theodore Kaczynski, a brilliant but troubled mathematician, shows a life of solitude and isolation. His mind, once celebrated for its intellectual prowess, became consumed by a growing disdain for modern technology and its perceived threat to human freedom. The unleashing of fury. In the depths of his secluded cabin, Theodore Kaczynski meticulously crafted his homemade bombs, each one intended to strike fear into the hearts of his chosen targets. Driven by his radical beliefs and an unwavering conviction, he embarked on a reign of terror that would span over 2 decades. With a deadly combination of cunning and expertise, the Unabomber orchestrated a series of bombings that targeted individuals and organizations associated with academia, airline companies, and computer technology. His choice of victims seemed random at first, but upon closer examination, a pattern emerged: a deep-rooted opposition to the encroachment of technology and its impact on human freedom. Each bomb was meticulously designed to evade detection, often disguised as innocuous packages or mailings. The Unabomber's ability to remain undetected for so long was a testament to his meticulous planning and careful execution. The explosions were intended not only to cause physical harm, but also to instill a pervasive sense of fear and paranoia in society. As news of the bombings spread, a wave of terror swept through the targeted communities and beyond. People became wary of opening packages, mailrooms implemented stringent security measures, and an entire nation grappled with the elusive threat lurking in the shadows. The Unabomber's campaign struck fear into the hearts of individuals and raised questions about the vulnerability of society in the face of a determined and intelligent adversary. The impact of the Unabomber's actions was not limited to the physical damage caused by the bombings. It extended to the psychological toll inflicted upon the victims and their loved ones. Lives were forever altered, and a pervasive sense of unease settled over society as people wondered who might be the next target of this faceless assailant. Here are some notable examples of his crimes. The University of Illinois bombing, 1978. Kaczynski planted a bomb in a parking lot at the University of Illinois, injuring a graduate student named Hugh Scruton. This was one of his early attacks, and it set the stage for his later acts of violence. The Northwestern University bombing, 1979. Kaczynski targeted a professor named John Harris at Northwestern University. The bomb, disguised as a package, injured Harris when he opened it. The American Airlines Flight 444 bombing, 1979. Kaczynski planted a bomb on American Airlines Flight 444, which detonated mid-flight. Fortunately, the pilot was able to safely land the plane, and no one was injured. This incident raised concerns about the vulnerability of air travel. The Sacramento bombings, 1985 to 1995. Kaczynski carried out a series of bombings in Sacramento, California. One of his victims, Gilbert Murray, was killed when he opened a package containing a bomb. Other bombings in Sacramento targeted individuals involved in the timber industry. The Yale University bombing, 1993. Kaczynski sent a bomb to Yale University, which injured computer science professor David Gillerter. This attack was part of his campaign against technological advancements and their perceived negative impact on society. These are just a few examples of the crimes committed by Theodore Kaczynski. His bombings caused multiple injuries and fatalities, instilling fear and uncertainty across the nation. The severity and impact of his actions led to an intense manhunt and a lasting legacy of terror, the unmasking of a madman. As the nation grappled with the increasing terror and uncertainty caused by the Unabomber's bombings, an unlikely breakthrough emerged: a 35,000-word manifesto titled Industrial Society and Its Future. Meticulously written by the Unabomber himself, it outlined his extreme anti-technology ideology and his vision of a society free from the perceived shackles of modern civilization. In a daring move, the Unabomber sent copies of the manifesto to several major news outlets, including the New York Times and the Washington Post, with a chilling ultimatum: publish the manifesto in its entirety, or more bombings would follow. The manifesto served as a window into the Unabomber's twisted mind, revealing his motivations, grievances, and warped philosophy. Faced with the difficult decision of whether to comply with the Unabomber's demands, the media ultimately chose to release the manifesto in the hope that it would lead to the identification and capture of the elusive bomber. This decision proved to be a pivotal moment in the investigation, as it brought national attention to the Unabomber's ideology and generated thousands of tips from the public. The trial and legacy. One particular tip received by the FBI came from the Unabomber's brother, David Kaczynski, who noticed striking similarities between the manifesto and his brother Theodore's writings. Torn between loyalty and a sense of duty, David ultimately made the gut-wrenching decision to turn his brother in, believing it was the only way to prevent further bloodshed. With the help of David's tip, FBI agents meticulously built a case against Theodore Kaczynski, gathering evidence that linked him to the bombings and his extremist ideology. In April 1996, after a search of Kaczynski's cabin, uncovered bomb-making materials and a handcrafted bomb. Ready for mailing, the Unabomber's reign of terror came to an end. The unmasking of the Unabomber shocked the nation and brought closure to the victims and their families. Theodore Kaczynski was captured, and his trial shed light on the disturbed mind behind the bombings. The court proceedings unveiled the depths of his. The arrest of Theodore Kaczynski, the notorious Unabomber, marked the beginning of a high-profile trial that would captivate the nation. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the world watched with a mix of fascination and horror, eager to understand the mind of a man who had terrorized innocent lives for nearly 2 decades. The trial began with the presentation of overwhelming evidence against Kaczynski, including his writings, bomb-making materials, and the recovered bombs themselves. The prosecution meticulously built a case that portrayed Kaczynski as a calculated and methodical serial bomber, driven by his extremist beliefs and desire for societal upheaval. Kaczynski's defense team, on the other hand, sought to humanize their client and present him as a victim of his own psychological turmoil. They argued that Kaczynski's actions were a result of his deep-seated anger and frustration with the direction of society, rather than a calculated plan to cause harm. They aimed to create doubt in the minds of the jurors, suggesting that Kaczynski's mental state compromised his ability to fully understand the consequences of his actions. The trial became a battle of narratives, with the prosecution painting Kaczynski as a domestic terrorist and the defense emphasizing his troubled mental state. Witnesses, including Kaczynski's family members and experts in psychology and criminology, testified, providing insight into his upbringing, his academic brilliance, and his gradual descent into isolation and extremism. After weeks of compelling arguments, the jury ultimately found Theodore Kaczynski guilty on multiple charges related to the bombings. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The trial concluded, but the impact of the Unabomber's actions would leave a lasting legacy. The Unabomber case sparked discussions about the influence of technology, the ethical boundaries of scientific research, and the delicate balance between individual freedom and societal responsibility. Kaczynski's manifesto, despite its extreme ideology, raised valid concerns about the consequences of unchecked technological advancement and its potential impact on personal freedom and privacy. In the aftermath of the trial, the Unabomber's story continued to captivate and haunt the public's imagination. The legacy of his crimes extended beyond his capture and conviction, serving as a chilling reminder of the capacity for violence that can lie within even the most intelligent and seemingly ordinary individuals. The Unabomber's legacy. The story of Theodore Kaczynski, the Unabomber, left an indelible mark on society. It sparked debates about the perils of technology, the consequences of isolation, and the fragility of the human mind. Kaczynski's actions remind us of the potential darkness that can reside within even the most brilliant minds and serve as a chilling reminder of the lengths to which ideology can drive individuals.